Full panel here with me now. Niall Stanage is a White House columnist for The Hill. Jessica Anderson worked in the budget office in the first Trump administration. Chris Stirewalt, host of The Hill Sunday, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Brad Howard is a Democratic strategist. Hello. Happy Friday.
Howdy.
Yes, indeed.
It's Friday. Happy
Good to be
Friday.
here.
There we go.
All right. We'll see how it goes.
So I'm watching these videos pour in last night, Jessica, of Rich McCormick, and they were coming in. That's a district he won by 30. And I think he got caught off guard last night with them saying, whoa, what about these layoffs? What's going to happen at these town halls with Republicans?
Well, first, I'm so glad to see that we're actually doing town halls again. There was 10 years now where we haven't done them because of COVID and different things. So it's a great opportunity, I think, for Republicans to hit the streets and to defend the cuts. I mean, these are the types of issues that the president also ran on, that he won in November. And so now I think lawmakers have a really complicated job to connect the dots back to the agenda. So when the president talked about, providing meaning back to the government and cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, this is how it's done. And it's complicated, and it does require layoffs. And I think the scalp that we're hoping to see from DOGE is going to come this next week as the president's EO is actually operationalized, with every single agency having a DOGE head in their agency.
But then that means as more comes, Brad, more of this could potentially happen.
Yeah, and I agree. Kudos to having a town hall. I hope more Republicans do them over the next 2 years, because you're going to see a lot of this. It's not just the cuts. I think most people support waste, fraud, and abuse. It is the haphazard way. It is firing the nuclear safety agency to rehire them back because, oops, we made a mistake, to, at a time when airline safety is a top concern, laying out people at the FAA. None of this makes sense to voters. It's a very chaotic way to go about this. And
I think there's voters, though, who say, yeah, Washington, Washington.
There are.
But now we're starting to see it in some of the districts.
Right, because people are getting laid off, and their economic futures are being affected, and services are getting cut. That is also what's going to drive a lot of the pushback you're going to see at these town halls. And by the way, they tried to get away from this political fallout by giving it to Elon Musk. Clearly, it's not working, because they're going to hold these members responsible.
You said in your introduction, Blake, that town hall was in a plus 30 Republican district.
True.
It's also in a district about 20 miles from the CDC headquarters. That's where those layoffs are taking place. All politics is local, such a cliche, but it's very easy to gin up anti-Washington sentiment. When you're talking about 1,300 people getting laid off 20 miles down the road, that picture changes pretty abruptly.
This is sample size of one, as I mentioned to Joe Khalil. But we saw stuff like this for the Tea Party back in 2010. Again, sample size of one, but I just wonder where this goes.
It goes to, you're not going to see very many town halls.
Okay. All right.
A lot of telephone town halls.
In 2010, Republicans very effectively used town halls against Democrats to punish them for the Obama agenda. They organized, they did it effectively. They did it again against Joe Biden in school board meetings, right? They got moms out, they organized effectively and turned school board meetings into a nightmare for Democrats. Democrats want to do it to Republicans here. If Rich McCormick, if they held the election in that district today, he'd still win by 30 points. Maybe not 30 points, but he'd win by a bunch. These are activists who go to these things, and we have to be careful about not mistaking the trees for the forest. Okay. He'd win this district handily. People are upset, and we have to also remember this. Elon Musk isn't running for anything. Elon Musk wants to do a bunch of bananas-looking stuff and get all this attention and wave around a chainsaw like this was Argentina. Okay. That's not helpful for Donald Trump. That's bad for Donald Trump. And their interests eventually diverge when you get down to the fact that there are Republicans across this country in districts like these that will be affected by the cuts, and it will be consequential.
In The Hill today, whole hog politics, Democrats learn the limits of resistance, you write, sir.
Well, the question is, for Democrats, which 100 days is Donald Trump having? Is he having the 100 days of FDR, where we get the American standard, where he installed the New Deal and changed everything? Or is he having the 100 days, it's more like Napoleon, after he got back in power after his exile, and it was 100 days from being crowned emperor again to Waterloo? Democrats don't know which one it is, but I think James Carville is more correct when he tells Democrats there's nothing you can do about it anyway, so just wait until they get tangled up in their own underwear and then take advantage of it after that.
Is that the way to go?
Yeah, well, I would say I think you should speak out when you see something that is that you believe is unconstitutional or against your moral value or bad politics, whatever. But it's how you respond and at what level. It can't be 100% rage all the time. And then secondly, Democrats need to be talking about what we would do if we had the gavel as well. So while Republicans are focused on, Greenland and all the other stuff, we're focused on bringing down the cost of eggs. We're focused on bringing down the cost of housing, et cetera, and et cetera. Real quick, though, the one impact of town halls like this, it helps with candidate recruitment.
Yeah.
So Democrats see a weakness, and we can get a quality recruitment in there in districts we otherwise normally would not be able to.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, great. Glad the Democrats are going to recruit. Glad to see they have some sort of cohesive message, because we haven't really seen any of that since last November. We haven't really seen that from the Democrats in over a year. So I think what's happening right now is a national dialogue on whether or not we should cut spending, whether or not we should rid the government of woke programs, what those are. You hear the examples. Some are egregious and some are part of the everyday programs of the government. And at a certain point, it has to stop. And I have a little bit of a slightly different, or an add-on to Chris's point about whether or not Elon is good or bad for Republicans. Well, I think we've all been around since Coburn days of the waste, fraud, and abuse books. There was no appetite for that. It wasn't sexy. No one was really doing that except for wonks on the Hill. Now, Elon gives a permission structure or the political cover to Republicans if they can explain it to their constituents. And that's the big if. And I think that's what we need to see in these town halls.
Niall, voters' approval ratings on Congress. Republican Party, 79%. Democratic Party, 40%. There's the Democratic Party, to Chris's point, is sitting back trying to figure all this out, which way this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I do think that, with all due respect to Mr. Starwald, I'm not sure that Trump is either Napoleon or FDR. He's a guy who's sitting at 45% in the latest Gallup approval rating and won the popular vote by 1.5.
All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Still
for
to come, of course. Still to come here, other side of the break. Steyer